All of the functional parts and the accessories of a table saw are designed to allow the user to operate this tool to achieve the desired results and in the safest possible manner. A blade guard, splitter, and pawls are all part of that process too, but their primary function is aimed more squarely at safety than any other accessory on the table saw. A blade guard actually does what it says. It serves as a barrier between the spinning saw blade and the user. When ripping or cross-cutting, the blade guard rides up and over a piece of stock as it comes in contact with it and will come back to rest on the saw's table when the cut is finished. A splitter also does what it says. It keeps the two pieces of stock separated after the cut is made. You might be asking yourself, why is this necessary? After all, the wood has already been split by the cut, right? Well, yes, the wood would be separated by the cut. Unfortunately, there are times when the right side of the cut will warp and try to close the gap made by the cut. If kickback is going to happen, this is one of the situations in which it may. When this happens, it's usually because the wood has not been dried properly, and it warps as a result, which can cause it to bind on a furiously spinning blade. It is possible that a bind of this type could actually stop the blade from spinning and potentially damage the saw's motor, or at least trip an electrical breaker. Believe it or not, that's a better option than the other thing that could happen. We mentioned this earlier when we talked about the safety zone. The other and more likely option to binding a saw's blade in this way is a phenomenon called kickback. This is another time when a word actually does what it says. Kickback occurs when the powerful twisting force or torque of the motor is severely slowed by a bind on the blade. When the blade cannot cut, the physical reaction of the motor's torque results in the stock being thrown in the direction in which the blade is spinning. When kickback happens, it literally throws the stock back in the direction of the user with tremendous force. Aside from accidentally coming in contact with the spinning blade, this is the worst thing that could happen to anyone operating a table saw. Earlier, we mentioned that the operational speed of a table saw blade ranges from approximately 3,000 to 5,500 revolutions per minute while cutting wood. We've heard estimates that this is the equivalent to 150 to 200 miles per hour. That's why kickback is serious stuff. Fortunately, engineers and designers have come up with another accessory that helps to stop this action from happening. It is called a pawl. Pawls are used in sets and are located just behind a splitter and are installed on either side of it. Pawls react to stock passing beneath them in a similar manner to the blade guard. As the stock reaches the pawls, they rise up and then ride along the surface of what's being cut, and then come back to rest on the table once the stock has made its pass. You may have noticed that pawls have sets of jagged points on their back ends. These perform a vital function if they are called upon. If kickback begins, and the saw starts pushing the stock back in the operator's direction, the pawl's points dig into the surface of what's being cut, preventing it from being hurled rearward and giving the operator time to react. It is a simple design that has a miraculous function.